Hello, and thank you for joining me for our thought for the day. All my life, I've been struggling with directions and finding my way. I'm not too bad out in the countryside, but towns and cities I find really confusing. I remember my first day in high school when I was about 11 years old. The school was in a completely different part of town from my primary school, and I had to go on a public bus to get there. Some weeks earlier, my mum had walked with me from the bus stop to the school to show me the way, but to be honest, on that morning when I stepped out of the bus, I had only a very vague idea of where I had to go. My best friend wasn't there. I think she got a lift with her dad. So I was on my own, and I decided to follow some older kids with school bags, thinking that they were going to my school. I walked behind them for a little while, and I had the feeling that we went in the right direction, but eventually we came to this massive big crossroads, and I knew this wasn't the right way. Actually, in the distance, I could see a high school, but it wasn't mine. I turned round, and eventually, after a bit of searching, I found my way. Good job that the bus went so early, I still arrived on time. This experience taught me a lesson. If you follow someone, you better know where they're going. A couple of weeks ago in the after school club, I asked the children what it means to follow someone. For them, this really means social media. You follow someone if you admire them or find it interesting what they're doing. You may want to learn from them or just be entertained and have a laugh. You may want to imitate them, copy what they're doing. They do influence what you think and do. Some even call themselves influencers. And some of these people have a lot of followers and a lot of influence. But it's not just online personalities who have an effect on us. Our parents and grandparents, all our family really, and other people we meet can be influencers to us, teachers in particular, youth leaders and authors and politicians, musicians, TV personalities as well. Very much depends on who we watch and listen to, who has our ear. And I wonder, just as I did on that morning when I stepped out of the bus, where are these people going and where are they coming from? What are their motives? Do they do what they do for others or mainly for themselves? And where are they headed to? And is that really the place I want to go? This decides whether they're trustworthy or not, whether I should follow them or not. One person looking for followers is Jesus, and he uses the image of a shepherd to explain to us what he's about. In his time, keeping sheep worked differently from the way it does here in Wales today. There were predators that needed protecting from, and there wasn't fresh grass and water everywhere. A shepherd would be with his sheep day and night when they were out in the hills and fields. They would mainly be kept for their wool, so they would be with a shepherd for years. They would know him really well, and he would know them. In the morning, he would call the sheep of his flock out of the fold, which would be a communal one in the villages for all the flocks together. And the sheep would know their shepherd's voice and answer to his call. They wouldn't trust anyone else. He would lead them to where he knew was fresh grass and water. If they were going to stay out overnight, he would build something like a makeshift pen and lie across the entrance space to make sure the sheep were safe inside and couldn't escape. Jesus said, "I am the good shepherd. The good shepherd sacrifices his life for the sheep. A hired hand will run when he sees a wolf coming. He will abandon the sheep because they don't belong to him and he isn't their shepherd. And so the wolf attacks them and scatters the flock. The hired hand runs away because he's working only for the money and doesn't really care about the sheep. I sacrifice my life for the sheep. You can read all this in John's Gospel, chapter 10. In the After School Club, we ask the question whether Jesus is a safe and trustworthy person to follow. He's not in it for himself, but for those who follow him. He cares deeply about each one of us, looking for the one sheep that's got lost till he's found it, because it's his sheep. He goes through all kinds of trouble to make sure every single one is found and safe. He says, "My purpose is to give them a rich and satisfying life." Not necessarily easy or trouble-free, but rich and satisfying, a life with purpose and direction. It's worth asking the question, what or who has an influence on us? What do we watch and read and listen to? Who has our ear? And is that a good and helpful thing for us or not? Is it leading us in a good direction? Where do we want to go and who do we want to be? There is lots of good stuff out there. There are lots of people who mean well. But I want Jesus to be the main influencer in my life, listening to him, imitating what he does, learn from him. I think he's the very best person to follow. I'd like to go where he goes. I hope you have a good week. Bless you all. See you soon. Bye-bye.